This video is about finding the elapsed time using number lines. We're going to go through three scenarios. One scenario where we have the start time, the elapsed time, and need to find the end. One where we have the end, the elapsed time, and we need to find the start. And then one where we have the start and the end, and we need to find the elapsed. So we're going to be using number lines. Time is technically linear. Clocks are round, but really if we could unwrap our clock, it would just make a number line. So it really makes sense that if we are moving forward in time, moving backwards in time, or finding how much time has passed, that we would use number lines with that. So for example, my first example here, we're going to start with 11:38 a.m. and I know I need to move forward 3 hours and 10 minutes. So I'm going to do my pieces separately. I'm going to work with the 3 hours first. So I'm going to move myself 3 hours forward. So 11:38 a.m., 12:38 p.m., 1:38 p.m., 2:38 p.m. would move me 3 hours forward. So I've taken care of the 3 hours. Now I need to move the 10 minutes forward. So if I add 10 minutes to my time, I am at 10:48 p.m. I'm sorry, 2:48 p.m. So if your start time's at 11:38 a.m., the elapsed time is 3 hours and 10 minutes. The end time would be 2:48 p.m. So another example would be where you have the end time and the elapsed time, and I need to find out when it started. So we're going to use the number line as well, but this time instead of moving forward in time, we're going to work backwards. So let me just kind of section that off. So we are starting at the 11:15 and we're going to go backwards 2 hours and 37 minutes. So I'm using the same setup, but I'm just going to put a note to myself, back 2 hours. Or I could say, negative 2 hours. So if I go back 2 hours, I start at 1:15 p.m., 12:15 p.m., brings me to 11:15 a.m. So I've taken care of the 2 hours. Now I need to go back 37 minutes. Now, I'm at 11:15. I can't take 37 minutes away from that. So what I'm doing is just going to get myself to a benchmark time to make it a little more user-friendly. I'm just going to take myself back to 11 o'clock a.m., and that means I went back 15 minutes. Now I needed to go back 37 minutes. I've already gone back 15 of those, so I still have 22 more minutes that I need to go back. So if I go back another 22 minutes, count back from 11 o'clock, that brings me to 10:38 a.m. And I can fill that into my chart. So if I start at 1:15 p.m., I need to go back 2 hours, 37 minutes. So first I went back the 2 hours, took me to 11:15 a.m., and I did go back 37 minutes total, but I broke it up into chunks so that I could kind of be working with benchmark times. So it took me back to the 11 o'clock hour, and then it made it a little easier to see how do I go back those 37 minutes when I chunk it apart. So my start time would then be 10:38 a.m. And remember to change from the a.m. to p.m. if you're crossing over that 12 o'clock. So our last scenario is when I know my start and end time and I don't know what's elapsed. So basically when I make my number line this time, I know the start of my number line and I know the end of my number line. Now it's filling in the middle, which is what we knew before. So I could say to myself, okay, if I go 1 hour forward, I'm at 8:41 p.m. Not there yet. But if I go 2 hours forward, I'm at 9:41 p.m. Gone way too far. So I'm just going to move forward 1 hour, take myself to 8:41 p.m. Now I just need to find out how many minutes it would take to get from 8:41 to 8:50. That will take me 9 minutes. Could just do 50 minus 41 to get my 9. So 1 hour, 9 minutes is my elapsed time. So if my start time is 7:41 p.m. and my end time is 8:50 p.m., I can see that in between that I have 1 hour and 9 minutes.